Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Saturday Morning Storytime Live. I am your host, Joey Medea. This is our 76th book, the first of two that are contained in this volume right here. The Master Swordsman is our story today. Next week, I'll be doing The Magic Doorway. This is retold and illustrated by Alice Provensen. It is an ancient legend of China. When I started to read this, and you'll probably hear it too, I was thinking, oh, this is just a retelling of Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai or The Magnificent Seven, the classic Western with Yul Brynner and so forth. But as it turns out, it isn't. It really takes a turn, goes in a much different way, I think, with a very, very positive message. So let's run our little opening we have that Tanya put together for me, and then we'll get started. Good morning. Pirates and UFOs, two of my favorite things. Speaking of, I don't have the stack of books with me, but I promise you, I have really cool stuff coming up for October. Two pirate books that are going to be read by Angus Quill McGregor, I guess my alter ego, if you will. Very popular when he does that. I'll be getting into fantasy garb to do another story. It's kind of a cool little fantasy story, and to take us through the rest of October in costume. So here we go. The Master Swordsman, beautifully illustrated. Alice Provensen wrote and illustrated. A long time ago, far away in China, a group of poor farmers lived in a small village. All they had in the world were their tumble-down houses, the clothes they had on their backs, and a small piece of land. Each year, when they harvested the rice they had grown, they hid away enough rice seeds for the next year's planting. Poor though it was, the village was often beset upon by bandits. So that could very easily, again, be the pitch for Kurosawa and for the Magnificent Seven. The bandit tribes swarmed down the mountain pass to attack the village. Brandishing their swords, they beat and robbed the people. "Spare us our miserable scraps," cried the villagers, "or we shall surely starve." "You are lucky to escape with your miserable skin," shouted the bandit chief. I think of Eli Wallach. The bandits made off with everything of value they could find, which wasn't much. And then again, like I said, beautifully illustrated. And I should go back here really quick to this opening image here of the peaceful village that gets set upon by bandits. So here we go. "Where can we learn to protect ourselves?" said Little Chu. One of the farmers spoke up. "I have heard of a Master Li living in a distant province," he said. "He is said to be the greatest teacher of the sword in all of China." "Father, give me permission to go in search of this Master Li," said Little Chu. "Go, my son, and good fortune go with you," said his father. Little Chu's mother wept bitterly. So here we clearly have the hero's journey. Little Chu is going to leave the comfort of his home, same as, like, say, Frodo does from the Shire, go out into the unknown and try to save his people. So here he is, asking advice and volunteering to help. So off he goes, answering the call of adventure. After months of wandering, living on a little rice begged from poor farmers and an occasional stolen onion, Little Chu was almost ready to give up. He decided to cross the mountain and look for work in a big city. On the way, he came to a shabby hut of straw and branches where a very ragged old man lived, surrounded by chickens, ducks, a goat, a dog, and ravens cawing on the roof. Little Chu bowed to the old man. "Reverend sir, do you know where I can find Master Li?" The old man looked at Little Chu without expression. "I am called Master Li." So there it is. The teacher, the ally, the helper, after sacrificing, crossing the expanse. If you remember the story I read a couple weeks ago, the queen had to take off all her finery, her jewels, and all of that. That was her journey towards being ready to accept this. Little Chu got on his knees. "Will you teach me the sword, Master?" Master Li said to Little Chu, "I do not teach anyone. I'm getting old and I need someone to help me around the place." "I will help, sir," said Little Chu. All of a sudden, it's a little bit Karate Kid. It began. Carrying, digging, pitching, washing. Little Chu slept very soundly. The wise old master. Before you want to do the elaborate and heroic, you have to do the simple. How heavy the pails, how endless the wood, how far the well. One day, as little Chu was carrying water, a jug came sailing over the hut. Bong! Look sharp, glugged the jug. So he's doing his chores, he's getting pelted. Oh, crump! Attention, clacked a box. Bonk! Be alert, creaked a log. So he's really paying his dues here. He's really being tested. Is he going to stick with it? Is he going to stay the course for the greater good? Clunk! Anticipate, grunted the stew pot. Master Li is the meanest man in the world, thought Little Chu. But the master's old, and I know he needs my help. 2 years passed. One day, without thinking, Little Chu ducked his head. A big sharp stone missed him by a hair. Now you're beginning to get it, clicked the stone. So again, the trials, and then finally, he gets it. A little bit Luke in the Millennium Falcon. I love the repetition of the patterns in storytelling. Zoom, that's the way, wheezed the teapot. Hurrah, quacked the ducks. Good, crowed the cock. Swish went the persimmons in the colander. Nothing could touch Little Chu. There he's going. Different version of wax on, wax off. Of crane pose. First time he gets it there in Karate Kid. Everybody cheers. One morning, as Little Chu was hard at work, Master Li suddenly drew his giant sword. With a terrific hiss, it spun under Little Chu, who had leapt high in the air. Well done, my son, whispered the sword. The persimmons, the cabbage, the sword, the stool, the colander, the log, the pail, the stew pot, the rock, the box, the teapot, the water jug, the chair. All of them applauded Little Chu. Master Li bowed to Little Chu and said, you have learned all that I can teach you. You're free to go now. Here is the scabbard for your sword, but you will never need to draw it. No enemy can touch you. Use the sword to chop cabbage. Very interesting. Use the sword for peace. You're such a masterful. And what's interesting is Chu never learned how to use the sword because he doesn't need to learn how to use it. So I was amazed when I read this the first time a couple of days ago. Little Chu returned to his village in triumph. He became the village chef. The villagers built him a tea house, and as his reputation as a cook grew, his family and friends prospered. Great and important people, even dangerous people, came from near and far to watch Little Chu wield his famous sword as he prepared their meals. No one ever challenged the swordsmanship of Little Chu. And there you go. That's our story today. I think with a brilliant, brilliant message between those of you who are into fantasy. Dwarves, right? The right hand, the hammer is a tool. The left hand, the hammer is a weapon. I may be getting it backwards. Maybe it varies from story to story, but it's just the idea, chop cabbage with your sword because you'll never need to use it as a weapon. So pretty terrific. Next week, we do the magic doorway. So I hope to see you then. It was about 45 degrees when we woke up this morning here in Eastern Ohio in the Creative Cottage. I hope you're all cozy. And to our friends in Florida, with Ian bearing down. Also, Cuba, the rest of the Caribbean, they're gonna hope they're all safe as well. But really thinking about our friends in Florida, I hope you're well. And this turns out okay right now. They're talking about Cat 3, scary. So see you next week. Let's play. And just to our friend Angelina, hello. I'm glad your recovery is continuing to go well. Good morning. And you two have a great weekend. Bye, everyone.